So here we are. I'm on a train again, this time to Gdansk, and you can see that the side of the railway here is all dug up, and in that line behind the mound you'll see the sleepers. These are concrete sleepers, not wooden sleepers, all lined up to be put in place again once this area has been prepared for well, flattened out and made straight, etc., or whatever it is they do. Fortified, given plenty of vitamin B complex. This is a little bit more, looks like sand, looks like there's a lot of sand there. I don't know what else they're going to stick on there. Later on I think it's rejects, and then they put the metal on and they put these sleepers on to keep them the right distance apart. These concrete sleepers with the holders in for the metal. And that's all there is to making a railway, and you can make a railway a lot quicker than you can make a road, by the looks of things. I think that's the case. And in fact, less concrete and metal is involved in making a railway, less expensive making a kilometre of railway than in making a kilometre of road. So, and of course less energy is used in transporting people and goods on a railway than on a road. So if we get to thinking about peak oil and things like that, especially when you consider that you can power your railway with electricity running along it, which is what happens on most of them, certainly this one is, then it certainly makes a lot of sense as far as solving the transport issues for there to be more trains and more railway, and rather less roads and less cars and less lorries. Certainly I've only become a recent devotee, as it were, of trains. Only very gradually I've, for example, today I had a perfect choice. Would I take the car or take the train to Tczew? Here's the rejects which go on top of the sand afterwards. They're all lined up there. All the ingredients are here except for the metal rails. There's the earth moving equipment. Probably, yeah, this is really the first year that I've ever taken this time in Tczew without the car, isn't it? I think I've gone up to Tczew in the car just about every single year. And you've seen me driving that car around in Tczew if you've been watching all my stuff for 2 years on the trot. They've made themselves a little camp down here. That's nice, isn't it? With a little campfire. It looks like a Russian village. It's quite nice down there as well. I quite like the little trees that are there and the vegetation generally. This looks like a Christmas tree farm with all the small ones there. That's quite nice with the little trees out there. There's another one of it out there, similar idea. I quite like that kind of scrubby vegetation. Pretty much gives the game away. If you look at that vegetation there. It pretty much gives the game away of what kind of soil you've got underneath it. Pretty sandy. So don't think it's a very rich soil, not very loamy, or it's kind of poor and sandy. So basically, I'm going to Tczew, taking the train this year. I've taken trains to Tczew for the stock take because of avoiding the snow, but this is the first time I've actually chosen to use the train quite so much in preference to the car. Not only do I have the ability to, well, sleep, work, read. I've got a private eye here with me in the time of the journey, and the journey goes actually quite fast. But also, I've also got when I get there, I've got more chances to find that I have to walk. Whereas if you're with the car, you've got to stick with your car, and you don't even get the chance to walk, and it takes away the time that you could be doing a little bit of walking. Whereas once you're on without the car, you've got to walk a bit more. You just automatically find yourself walking a bit more during any day, and that's probably a good idea. I didn't really get, despite the good intentions at year end, I didn't really get into this diet very much, and now it's really going to be first quarter, or second quarter, beginning of the second quarter resolutions in a few days' time. I might have to write off that first quarter, and I'll be lucky if I finish it at the same weight that I started it. I don't think I've lost anything on balance. It was a very tough winter, and there wasn't any chance to really walk around much outside in all that snow and cold, and so not serious exercise. And so just on diet alone, I don't find that it helps me all that much. I need both diet and exercise. So now I've got the chance, it's coming to the half of the year when you can be out and about in Poland quite easily. Then that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take that opportunity, and I didn't even go to the half marathon in the end. I just didn't want to depress myself by seeing how far down I'd come from the year before, but there's going to be a bit of catching up that I need to do, that's for sure. Okay. Talk later. It's amazing. Sometimes the trees are poking half out of these piles of, they call them rejects, don't they, these flints. I don't know if you saw it, if I managed to switch this on time, but actually piled the flints up around the trees, so the flints were just poking out, the trees are just poking out of the top of a pile of flints. This is Nowy Dwór Mazowiecki, which means, in fact, that in quite a lot of, I'm actually shocked, because I've been in this train now for an hour and 15 minutes, and Nowy Dwór Mazowiecki is really not far. We've obviously been driving very slowly because of going through that place where they're rebuilding it. Look at all the sand that there is there. It's really like completely sandy. It's really strange, that terrain. Nowy Dwór Mazowiecki, incidentally, is near to the Vistula river, and where the Bug and the Vistula meet is near Nowy Dwór Mazowiecki. I'm not sure exactly what river it is that we're likely to cross, but I think in this city you would cross a river at one point. I think the train is always pretty much on the This train, at any rate, goes pretty much the whole time. It crosses the Vistula in Warsaw from the main station, and then it stays on the eastern side of the Vistula until it gets to exactly Tczew. And then it goes over the Vistula, and then the first thing that it comes to is Tczew station, shortly after crossing the Vistula again. But you can see that there's quite a lot of flooding going on down there by the looks of things. Not in a very nice state. These are all pollarded willows. That's probably the main road going up to... no, it's not, is it? I know this road. It's not the main road. But the main road to Gdansk from Warsaw goes up that way. Yeah, it's about 1 kilometre in that direction. This is an absolute... look at that. This is obviously some kind of sorting house for paper, but it's completely drenched out there in the open. Yeah, I used to be an internal auditor in a firm that had quite a few such units. It was called Cleanaway at the time, and now it's part of Veolia. And yeah, I had to go into places like that, which are not very nice places really to be in, because it's what you're really doing is you're clearing up other people's messes. And I had to basically see that they were running properly. So I didn't really enjoy that job, I have to say. So I was quite happy when it came to an end, although at the time it came to an end prematurely, and I was a little bit worried at the time. But here we are. Here's the river that I mentioned, and you've got them. I think, is that not the Magdalene Fort on that side? I'm not sure. There we go. I think it's the bug just about to fall into the want to see the other side of it as well. It's that island there. Bit of welding was going on there. I don't know if it showed up on the film. Certainly we're going through the back end of Beyond on this. And see, the terrain here next to the railway isn't being kept anything like as nicely as it could be. Bear in mind that people do have to watch this out of their train windows. More people see this every day than perhaps they're bearing in mind, and it could be cleaned up a little bit nicer than it is in some parts. Those are wooden sleepers. That's much older stuff. Up till now, the sleepers that they've had piled up on the side have been concrete ones, but these look like wooden ones. Yes, they are wooden ones. Modlin was a fort in the war, in the Second World War, I think. And if you want to know about Modlin, I think the thing to do is to look out on Alan Heath's channel, because I think he's got a couple of things about them, about Modlin on his channel. but it was a... There's all the wetland behind it. It's really in flood, isn't it? It's really high at the moment. It's covered. Some of those trees are halfway up in it, in the water. I'll take a closer look. If your house is there, you must be a little bit worried, I think. Okay, well if... This is where I'm sitting. So basically, as you see, once again, complete compartment to myself. It's an amusing story, true, but amusing. In the well, here we go. In the compartment behind me there, when I was walking along this way from that direction there, this direction, with my suitcase. And my other bag, and obviously the first, because I was planning to do a bit of sleeping and that in here, I didn't want to actually be, I wasn't designing to be in an empty carriage, and when I came into this carriage there was somebody in it already, but it was much emptier than the other ones that were along there. It's in fact a woman of about my age, I suppose. Fairly nondescript woman, and she's now. When I came in, I said, "Are there any spare seats?" I just sort of greeted her politely and said, "Are there any spare seats?" And she kind of snapped back, "Well, it's as you can see." So I took that as a yes. So I just sat down over in that corner. She was actually taking this seat, and she then sort of testily grabbed her handbag and walked off into the next carriage. Well, you know, you would have thought that, alright, some people want to be completely on their own, fair enough. In fact, it's probably better for women not to travel on their own. It's probably better for a woman to travel in the company of a reasonably, you know, genteel businessman than to be entirely on her own, you know. But obviously she didn't quite trust me. I don't know whether I look strange or anything, or maybe I do, but she didn't trust the idea of travelling with me, or want to travel in the same compartment as me anyway, so she goes next door. Okay, so I've got a very thick skin, so I just kind of smile. So okay, so I've pushed her out, but you know, it's not my fault if she doesn't want to take my company. I don't think I smell or anything, so, you know, just, she can do what she likes. I didn't give it much of any more thought, but then shortly afterwards I popped off to sleep a little bit, and as the train started moving, and after about 15 minutes the ticket collectors came up the train, and they had quite a considerable long conversation with her about her travel arrangements. Quite a row broke out in that compartment, and I politely inquired of the ticket collectors, does that lady not have a ticket then? And the guy didn't want to really say anything because he didn't know whether, you know, probably thought, well, it's not really your business, and it isn't, I suppose, but I just kind of, I was interested in it because she'd kind of given me a kind of well, she'd slighted me earlier, I suppose, by marching out when I just joined in the carriage. And so it just amused me to see that she wasn't even, legitimately travelling on the train anyway. So it just goes to show, doesn't it? I just had a moment's amusement at that. So I think she's still in there. I think she managed to fob them off for some reasons or pay in the end or something. I don't know how she got out of it, but she's still there. Maybe they just didn't want to send her packing. I don't know. But anyway, I better stop because if not, then it's going to be too long. I won't be able to code it up and put it on the internet because it's HD. Or I might have to reduce the HD down a bit. I might do that anyway. I'm not sure. I have to see when I do it. Well, I'm here in Hotel Karina, which is where I stayed in Tczew. They've got lots of good trophies for the quality of their services. But on one of the trophies with the wings here, a tiny insect has sat, obviously thinking that that's his female. Right. Look at all the wild birds. I don't know if you can see them. They're all there on the wetlands. It's really flooded the Vistula at the moment. This is just going over by Tczew. I've done this film before. It's the one where you see the weapon of mass destruction any short time. People plodding along through those flooded lagoons in their naked feet. Here's the weapon of mass destruction just coming up, the one that I talked about before. Some of you will remember it. But it's a different season, it looks different. It's all those, I don't know if they're seagulls or what over there. Oh, they've been letting off fireworks from a bucket, okay. And so, I just thought I'd film it again. On this side of the table, there's my bags, there's my tea. That's the bridge as it looks like on the other side. The Vistula going down there, there's the floodplain. The road goes along on that bridge next to the, well, there's another bridge. That doesn't seem to carry anything really. There's people walking along there. Oh yeah, there is a car. There is a car. There's a much bigger bridge down there though. The main road, this seems to be some kind of B road. Probably got no lorries or anything on it. Doesn't look like it's really all that maintained, but the big bridge is down there about 2 or 3 miles away. So now I've got a nice journey, with a longer day than I had the last time I did this. All the way back down to Warsaw in the train. I didn't really film in Tczew because I worked until it got dark. Didn't go for walks in it like I did in previous years, but nevertheless I just went home and went back to the hotel and did some work. And I was already working quite long, so I didn't do anything really filming in Tczew this year, but so those of you that wanted to see a bit more of Tczew, well, I've probably done it all anyway, but just an update would have been possible, but I didn't do it. But here's a little bit of train footage instead. Okay, these are the cheeses with cranberry sauce, fried cheeses that they do on the trains. In a second, I think we're getting closer to Malbork. I may have been exaggerating how quickly it takes to get to Malbork, but Malbork should be around here, so let's see if I can't get a good shot using HD this time of that famous castle of Malbork. The sun's a little bit in the way, so it's looking a bit blanched, unfortunately. But it's just coming into view. Here's the river whose name I can never remember, and then the castle behind it. Battery seems to be completely out, so this may be the last thing I can do on this journey. I didn't expect the battery to be gone so quickly. There's Malbork Castle, the home of the Knights Templar. For hundreds of years in the Middle Ages, their main fort by which they controlled northern continental Europe. Apparently it's got huge vaults in it underneath it as well that are of interest. These are parts of the old walls, right up to the railway here. The outer redoubt as well, and the moat here. The real person to ask about that would be Alan Heath, because he's the history man on YouTube for Polish history, but you know, I go past it, so I take a photo as well, you know. But if you want to know more about it, he's the man to ask on Alan Heath's channel. And this is Malbork city, or town, not a very big town. I'll just play it off until the battery goes, and then that'll be that.
Dobra, zgadamy się jeszcze.